1 inch, that's all I had. 1 inch between my fist and the pad at the Long Beach International Karate Championship, 1964. The crowd went silent. Impossible, they whispered. No one can generate real power from 1 inch away. But listen to me carefully. In that single moment, I wasn't just facing a physical challenge. I was facing every limit, every impossible, every you can't that someone had ever thrown at me. That day, my 1 inch punch sent a 200-pound man flying back into a chair. Not with muscle, not with size, but with something far more powerful, the ability to break through what others call impossible. Look at your life right now. What's your 1 inch punch? What's that thing everyone says you cannot do? That goal they say is out of your reach? Today I'm going to show you exactly how I learned to shatter these limitations. Not just in martial arts, but in every aspect of life. And more importantly, I'll show you how to do the same. The journey begins now. The power of breaking limits wasn't something I learned overnight. It started in a small room in Oakland, California. I had just opened my first school, and word spread quickly that I was teaching Kung Fu to Americans. One evening, a group of traditional Chinese masters came to my door. "Bruce, teaching our sacred art to Americans dishonors centuries of tradition. This knowledge is not for them." Their words carried the weight of generations, but in their voices I heard something else. Fear. Fear of change. Fear of breaking tradition. The Chinese community gave me a choice. Stop teaching Americans, or prove myself in combat. This wasn't just about a fight. It was about the right to break free from artificial limitations. They sent their best fighter, Wong Jack Man, to challenge me. That day changed everything. Not because I won the fight, but because it showed me something profound. Every limit is a test of conviction. When they said impossible, what they really meant was never been done before. This was my first major revelation. Limits exist only where we abandon further effort. The moment you accept someone else's limitations as your truth, you've already lost. But when you keep pushing, when you refuse to accept impossible, that's when barriers shatter. Now let me ask you something important. What's your Oakland school? What's that thing they say you have no right to do? That dream they claim isn't meant for someone like you. Don't just think about it. Name it. Say it out loud. Because the limits you can name are the limits you can break. Let me tell you what really happened in that Oakland fight. Before Wong Jack Man stepped into my kwoon, I felt something that might surprise you. Fear. Not of him, but of what was at stake. Everything I believed in, everything I wanted to change about martial arts, hung in the balance. But here's what I discovered that day. Fear is like an optical illusion. When you stand far from it, it looks massive, overwhelming. But as you step closer, as you examine it, something strange happens. It starts to lose its power. During that fight, something shifted in me. With each exchange, each movement, I stopped seeing fear as my enemy. Instead, it became my guide, showing me exactly where I needed to grow, where I needed to push harder. This is what I mean when I say be water. Water doesn't fight fear, it flows through it. When water meets a rock, it doesn't stop in fear. It finds a way around, over or through. Not by force, but by persistence, by constant adaptation. Think about water for a moment. Put your hand in a river. You can't hurt the water. Punch it. The water wins. Try to grab it. It slips right through. Not because water is fearless, but because water doesn't fight against what it fears. It simply continues to flow. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is simply a signal that you're pushing against a boundary that needs to be broken. When you feel fear rising in your chest, that's not a warning to stop. It's an invitation to transform. Now pause for a moment. Think about that fear you're carrying. Can you feel it? That tension in your body? That voice saying, stop? Good. Because now you know exactly where your next breakthrough awaits. You know what my first teacher told me when I was just starting? He said, Bruce, your cup is full. How can you learn if your cup is already full? At first I was angry. I had already mastered Wing Chun. How dare he say this? But that moment taught me something invaluable. To break your limits, you must first empty your cup of what you think you know. Your preconceptions, your old beliefs, even your past successes. They can all become prison walls. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they're too full of old ideas to embrace new possibilities. When I created Jeet Kune Do, I had to empty my cup first. I had to question everything I knew about martial arts. Everything. And that's when real progress began. Remember what I said about water? Now let me show you how to become water. Water doesn't try to be anything other than what it is. Put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. This isn't just philosophy. This is your blueprint for breaking limits. Start by observing yourself. Where are you rigid? Where do you resist? These are your points of limitation. Like water, you must learn to flow around obstacles, not fight them head on. When you meet resistance, don't push harder. Become more fluid. In my training, I stopped trying to force techniques to work. Instead, I adapted. I modified. I let go of what didn't serve me. This isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength. Now let me share exactly how I transformed these principles into practice. Every morning, I would spend 1 hour questioning my limitations. Not just physical ones, mental, emotional, spiritual. I would write down one limit I believed about myself, then spend that day proving it false. Here's your daily practice. First, begin each day by identifying one limitation you're accepting as truth. Second, question where this limit came from. Is it really yours, or did you inherit it? Third, create one specific action to push against this limit. Fourth, execute without hesitation. Fifth, document your progress no matter how small. I didn't become who I am through grand gestures. I did it through daily relentless practice. Each day, pushing one limit. Each day, becoming more fluid. Each day, emptying my cup to make room for new possibilities. This isn't just about physical training or martial arts. This is about everything. Your career, your relationships, your dreams. Every area where you've accepted a limit is an area waiting for transformation. Remember, practice isn't about reaching perfection. It's about proving that your limits are not where you thought they were. They never are. Let me tell you why I created Jeet Kune Do. It wasn't to make another style of fighting. It was to show you something far more important. The power of breaking free from all styles. When I first emerged in Hollywood, they wanted to put me in a box. You're a martial artist. Just do the typical kung fu moves, they said. But I had learned something too powerful to ignore. True power comes from being utterly yourself. Jeet Kune Do was my rebellion, my statement. When the martial arts world said stick to tradition, I said question everything. When they said follow the rules, I said create your own path. Not out of disrespect, but because I understood that the ultimate form of mastery isn't in following rules. It's in transcending them. But listen carefully. Before you can break the rules, you must first master them. I spent years perfecting traditional techniques before I knew which ones to keep and which to discard. This is crucial. Breaking limits isn't about blind rebellion. It's about conscious evolution. I'll give you an example. The traditional horse stance. Practitioners would hold it for hours, believing this was the only way to build a foundation. I questioned this. I studied anatomy, kinesiology, different training methods, and I discovered that by combining Western weight training with traditional methods, I could achieve better results in less time. This is your path too. Whatever field you're in, whatever dream you're chasing, master the fundamentals, then transcend them. Learn the rules like a master so you can break them like an artist. Now pause this video. Take out a piece of paper. Write down one rule in your field that everyone follows blindly. Now ask yourself, is this rule serving growth or limiting it? This is where your breakthrough begins. Remember, your ultimate expression isn't in following my path. It's in discovering your own. As I always say, using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation. Remember where we started? That 1-inch punch? That moment wasn't about breaking physical limits. It was about breaking mental ones. Just like that punch, your breakthrough is waiting just 1 inch away from where you are right now. Every morning, I face my own limitations. Every day, I choose to be like water. Every moment, I empty my cup to fill it with new possibilities. This isn't just my journey, it's yours. Think about the limits you named earlier in this video. Those walls you thought were permanent. Now you understand, they're not walls at all. They're doors, waiting for you to kick them open. Like water carving through mountain. Your persistent effort will break through any barrier. Not in one dramatic moment, but in the daily choice to keep flowing, keep pushing, keep growing. Today, you have a choice. You can close this video and return to your comfortable limitations. Or you can stand up right now, yes, right now, and take your first step toward breaking them. Remember, the world will always tell you what's impossible until you show them it's not. I am Bruce Lee, and you have no limits except those you choose to keep. Now go. Your breakthrough is waiting.